can you tell me something that you've learned about your role that you'll carry forward into your next or future projects? So we'll start with Claire. And for Claire, I actually want to narrow it down to programming because I'm quite interested in that. Just being a former software engineer myself, just what you might have learned from that process, particularly being self-taught as well.
Yeah, I guess, I mean, there's like lots and lots of like very specific programming-y things that I look back at the code of before I forget now, and it's just I would write it in a very different way, I think, just because I've learned different things, but just like having one reference to like a script somewhere, and then like rather than like 10 references to the same script, for example. And in terms of like Unity and sort of game development in general with like programming, I guess trying to get like a really broad overview and something that you can kind of play through from start to finish, even if it's like super rough and you just have like a cube that represents some like really nicely decorated thing in the future, but something that you can like walk through and get a sense of a space, and that like applies to other things as well, I suppose, with like mechanics. If you're trying out something new, try and get something rough and that you can test really early, and then you can fine tune it later on, because I think it's very, very easy to get caught up in details and do lots of like polish with code and be like, oh, if I tweak these numbers then it'll be like really nice and I'll just try out this like really tiny thing, because that, you know, if you do that you might show it to someone and they have no idea what it is or how to use it or just not like it, and then you'll have to like, you might even not use that particular feature in the final game anyway. So it's much better to try and have like just like a rougher version of it.
Yeah, like a prototype kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
But I do know, I remember like with code, sometimes you just put something together, it's rough, and then it works, and you stick with it, and then it goes in and everything. And that's not good either. So I don't know what the balance is, but I get that.
Yeah, and then it's hard to like rewrite it later. But I would definitely. It was very like spaghetti code when I was doing it initially. I think also because I was working like just a few hours here and there, and then I was trying to get it done like quickly, so I would like have a really like hacky approach to a lot of things, which isn't necessarily bad, but I think I would probably sit down and write out like on paper the structure of the code a bit more as well in future to try and organize it.
I get that. And how about yourself, Chella? Is there anything in terms of writing, narrative design that you learned from this process that you'll carry on or have carried on?
Yeah, interesting. I mean, it's difficult to play it because there's things I would rewrite, obviously.
That's why I don't read any of the comics that we make once it's printed, because otherwise it's
just like, oh my gosh, why didn't I polish that more? But people still get the gist, I suppose, and that's enough. What have I learned? I think I learned things from working with Claire, obviously, because we think in completely different ways. And so I think I learned how to work with a programmer and an artist, and just sort of like appreciate the things that I do or write that have an impact on, Claire's workload, So, I wrote something about curtains blowing in the wind, like blowing on a breeze. And obviously to program the physics was just like something I completely overlooked.
Wow. And water over hair in the breeze.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a couple lines, right?
Just like, a crowd runs over the brow of the hill, just program a hard track. Things like that. And one of the things I've taken away is we created a spreadsheet to map the player mood and the Sunita's mood, so her headspace, which is something, so where the player is at in relation to the character they're playing is really good, because sometimes those can be at odds to create dramatic tension. And it's really good to be able to map those to make sure that you are intentional with, every sort of scene and mood. And so that's something I sort of carry forward.
Okay. Huh. So, yeah, it's made me think. I was like, yeah, okay, I get that. Cool.
Yeah, so especially with Sunita, because she's an unreliable narrator, and sometimes we know more than she does because she's forgotten something. So sometimes she's having a happy memory, for instance, but we're sad about it because we realise, that Dylan isn't there, or we realise it's something that she's already lost, or something, but she's forgotten that. So Sunita's mood and the player's mood are in different places sometimes.
Hey there, I'm Nigel from mayamada. Thanks for watching our video. Don't forget to subscribe and check out the other great videos we have on the channel. You can also join the GamePad Discord and check out the next event at gamepad.events. We'll see you soon.